Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable essay. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Jeez, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.
Bartender, make it a double. We've got match number 2 of 5 tonight. And this one's going to be brought to you by Unicorn, along with myself, E.L. Krebs. Unicorn, how's it going, my friend?
Yelk, another day in paradise, and man, we're in for, as you called it, a slugfest. We've got Southern New Hampshire University, the JV team, going up against Concordia, Wisconsin, and we've got it in the Navigators division. One of the most fun things to cast. I'm looking forward to it. We've got all 3 games coming at you. Give me a little bit of insight. Let's start with SNHU, their JV side. Walk me through a little bit of them.
I mean, they're a fantastic team. In fact, they're so fantastic that they are in the playoff picture right now as the number 6 seed And Concordia, Wisconsin, they are hot on their tails at the 7th seed. And even though Concordia, Wisconsin's coming in at 2-4 and SNHU is 3-3, currently ahead in the standings, Concordia, Wisconsin has the better map differential. So if they come away with a win here, it's not just going to put them over in the win total, it's going to put them well ahead of SNHU in the map differential. So this is a game that Concordia, Wisconsin definitely hopes to steal from SNHU going into playoffs. But talking about SNHU a little bit more, I know their main tank, Dargoon Dargo, he is just a stud. He's been player of the match, MVP in other leagues, other tournaments. He's gotten just a lot of accolades so far in his streamed matches in this one. But we got to talk about the map pool a little bit, because Navigators Division, these two teams are going to run, I would say, nothing but brawl. Navigators Division is like the Reinhardt playground.
Sure.
If I do remember correctly, and this is a great brawl map pool. We've got Lijiang Tower, Blizzard World, and then we close it off with Havana. So we're definitely going to see the freight trains clashing today. What are you excited to see in the Navigators matchup?
You know, I'm not sure if we'll see some spawn door holds on Havana, but I know no matter what, it's going to be these long, as you called it, brawly fights where we can see fights going for 45 seconds up to a minute. And it's just, if you have Q, make sure you press it within these 30-second windows, because that's when all the fun's going to happen. And we're going to be able to watch that from that bird's eye view, or really first person we jump in with some of those DPS ultimates. But I think it's just going to be, as we kind of set a slugfest, watching these two teams go at it. Very long, extended fights, and I'm right there with you. A lot of brawl, maybe even some Bastion picks too, as he's seen some changes. Yelk, I don't know if you've seen this experimental card coming up, but it's a wild one.
That's got to be the craziest experimental card I've ever seen. Pretty much every hero gets a change, and they're, for the most part, just raw buffs. Not a lot of heroes getting nerfs. Some of the buffs are crazy, and they're kind of fun to talk about too. Like one of my favorites on the patch notes right now that is not live. We're not going to see it today, but it might be live someday soon, is Torbjorn having 2 turrets. That's got to be like one of the most fun looking things, as long as you're the Torb player. If you're anyone else, it's miserable.
Yeah, but it's so I was actually in the practice range experimenting with those double turret buffs, and with the changes to Pharah with her 5% damage decrease, it is impossible for a Torb turret to kill Pharah while she's in the air if a Mercy is on her. She just literally does not lose health. It's pretty crazy. But a lot of changes here on the experimental card. We're going to see if maybe these teams gear up for some of those changes, but so hard to predict what's going to be live and what isn't. But I'm ready to jump in here if you are. It looks like we're going to get started right here on Lijiang.
Yeah, not going to waste any time here as we just make our way into this first map, Night Market. One of my favorites. This is probably the second best brawl map opposed to Control Center, and then we've got the third point being Gardens. Not so good for brawl. The bridges can be very tough to get across when you're running in those close quarter compositions, but this map, however, you usually see rushed down with a pair of Symmetras, a Lucio, and teams just racing to the point as fast as they can, because that is the most valuable spot to hold on this. Sometimes it's valuable to play off the objective and go for picks, but this is a map where you like to lock down the first hold as quick as possible.
You definitely do. And speaking of as quick as possible, look at both sides here. Such different comps. We've got a Lucio from Styx. She rolls out on that. No supports for as far as a Lucio is concerned from Artemis or Duckinator. Both of them gonna choose for the opt for the slower supports, but that's gotta make it difficult to get to the point and begin that brawl phase.
Definitely going to make it kind of tricky. Silent Tempest on the Symmetra pick to get him through the window, get him to point first, but they don't have a Lucio, and on the other side of things, we do have the Lucio player coming out, so it's going to be very interesting.
Definitely is gonna be interesting. Not sure if we lost Yelk there, but you can see immediately SNHU makes their way onto point, and they have the point right now. Really just want to get Silent Tempest as big as possible on that Symmetra, starting to shred already. But both Rhine Shields falling low as the projected barrier comes out onto Rick Dazzle, but he's not able to move in yet. There's the Mei isolation from Dome, and they do pick up Pectus, and that's gonna force the red team back unless they can get this resurrection off. It doesn't, but Sopeak does find Dome with the headshot of that Hanzo arrow. Yelk, you with me?
Oh, I'm with you. I've been here the whole time, just struggling a little bit with the audio, but Sopeak lets that dragon scream, and that should be the first point flipped. But it's only a matter of time. I mean, they've got to finish off all these trades, finally demecking that Diva, and it should be a flip coming through at around 25%.
Yeah, such a long fight there like we already saw. SNHU able to get 26% there on that original night market point. And as we jump in, I'm not sure how Concordia, Wisconsin's going to hold this with the comp that they've chosen. It looks like they're going to opt back to point, but immediately the teleport comes in.
Yeah, and Sopic's going to be here on the outside, not pushing the effort too much, just trying to get a pick with those arrows on his way in. And now it's going to be the D.Va player closing in on the outside, shutting down this flank, trying to just finish off Cola, who does go down to that final hammer swing from Palsy. And now we've got Silent Tempest just beaming them down in the front line as this point has been resecured for SNHU, and they make their way into the courtyard to just gain all the ground they can before setting up their defense.
And that's going to be the ticket to victory there. If they can continue executing those short fights, especially in this Navigators division where you see them last so long with teams not really sure when they can or can't execute on a pick, that's going to be what is their ticket to victory as they push forward. But now they find themselves on defense. Concordia, Wisconsin trying to move in here. The time is not ticking in their favor as it looks like SNHU's already at 60% and a fat shatter.
Fat shatter, big D.Va bomb over the top, only going to find the immortality field, but it's going to get out every single cooldown it needs to, and Palsy is just stepping forward with a head full of confidence. And Cola comes back with 2 quick kills to try and slide this one back in Concordia, Wisconsin's favor as their DPS look to push back in at around 80%. But it still looks like SNHU has a fairly firm grasp on this point. Their tanks are there and their supports are right up behind them.
Rick Dazzle looking like he wanted to take a peek in there and know if he could really find his way into the point. Gonna choose to move forward anyway without those supports, but they've got a Soldier 76 on the way back now. But that May isolation is not good, but here comes the Dragons. They've got to kill the Immortality though.
Immortality does go down, as do 3 members of SNHU. It looks like Styx Eternal is able to take down the Immortality field, but as long as it's not a member, it doesn't seem like Concordia, Wisconsin's going to care. Pectus steps into Dome, taking him out of the equation, and overtime starts to tick down, but it should be a flip coming through right in the clutch time of the game for Concordia, Wisconsin.
Southern New Hampshire University has a lot of room to work with here. They did end up losing that point, but they've got the speed boost, they've got a blizzard. I want to see them ditch the TP straight up to the window this time. Just go main and then TP onto point and immediately throw that blizzard. Not going to have a ton of time to get out if you're Concordia, Wisconsin without that Lucio, but instead they throw it immediately into the window and go for it.
That's a massive May ultimate coming down, freezing up the tanks, and they're immediately taken down. Silent Tempest just pretty much dominating Rick Dazzle. He steps in with a level 3 beam. Dude, he is going to fry you, and he wastes no time taking down the main tank. 99% ticking away now, overtime underway, and that is round 1 for SNHU. They're looking strong here. I mean, they won the Symmetra rushdown. They got to the point first. They held it for not that long, 25%, but they were able to get back on after Concordia, Wisconsin had that flip.
And Concordia, Wisconsin had a couple looks at it, like you mentioned, with the flip there twice in a row where they were able to come back after a couple picks from Cola. However, Silent Tempest on that Symmetra, it's almost not fair once that thing gets to level 3. If you put some shields in front of it, it's going to get there all on its own, and then it's all she wrote as far as the fight is concerned. If you keep that, or excuse me, if you let that Symmetra be alive, not keep her alive, if you give her the privilege of staying alive inside of your team, she will absolutely thrive. And that's what they saw there, and they come out with 0 switches from the side of SNHU.
And I really like what SNHU is doing here. This is another point where you like to rush it down with Symmetra. They're not going to opt for the teleporter through the window. Instead, they're going to use the teleporter and the Lucio speed boost to get him over the bridge quicker and take the fight right up front. The main tank's already brawling it out here. Who's going to come on top? Not quite sure. Cooldowns traded out. That Maywall does help out Palsy quite a bit, but 2 members of SNHU quickly fall. And the brawl for Concordia, Wisconsin gets to push in. Hecht is taking down that baby D.Va. It's officially a 6 versus 4 here on the point. SNHU backed up against the final wall on their final stint of this first push. And that is going to be the last member falling as Palsy goes down, and the point collected for Concordia, Wisconsin to open things up.
Look at the DPS for Concordia, Wisconsin carrying that last fight. Cola wraps the D.Va mech up, gets baby D.Va out, and then headshots Styx Eternal on her Lucio. I mean, absolutely decimates them, slows down that brawl comp that they thrive with, and then the rest of Concordia, Wisconsin just moves in and are able to take out the team, and they move in 20% here as they look to play defense. And as they notice, SNHU tries to move to White Room. They don't choose to address it aggressively. Instead, they dial back a little bit, which is a little strange here.
Yeah, they use the immortality field just to get across the bridge. So Peaked is doing a great job playing that range. He's got the Dragon Strike in his back pocket, but the Baptiste window goes up first, and 2 quick kills follow off of the back of that amplified damage before everyone on SNHU was locked up in this Graviton Surge. No immortality field to save him, and So Peaked gets the 2K.
Absolutely does, and it looked like it wasn't going in Concordia's favor, but instead they throw the grab late, and after Pectus throws it, Sopeak is able to follow up with those dragons, and just as you said, no immortality field there. I like the play there, almost a tempo ultimate in a mid-fight situation, really buys a lot of time where they want to be wasting as much of SNHUs as they can, and they're going to opt for bridge now, and I'm not sure it's the best call here, but instead they're moving right into the Shatter, finds nobody, or finds one.
Yeah, Palsy is able to hit that slam onto So Peaked, but he's able to get out alive. But it's still looking like SNHU are just dominating, rolling on to this point with the brawl comp. Palsy not letting anything out of his grasp, swinging through the DPS. So Peaked does go down last as he was the first one to try and make that play last for Concordia, Wisconsin, but it looks like they'll be kicked off the point. Not quite final fight territory though, and it looks like they're going to have plenty of ultimates for when the clutch time of this round rolls around.
I mean, we see it when we watch Boise State, and we see it when we watch SNHU. It's the Lucio difference in that fight, Yelk. They're able to move in quickly, and I think they're going to try and do it again here. You see Concordia opting for the bridge, however, they're being a little slow about it. Instead, want to be safe and take it to White Room. Immediately, you'll see the side of SNHU respond, and I want to see them play this more aggressively with that Lucio. Take that brawl into the White Room and really let the May thrive in that situation. Speaking
Dome getting the early headshot pick onto MColo. They do have the Resurrect for that, but it's still a very tough spot to be. The May ultimate to counter the Shadow laid down by Rick Dazzle. That one did stun 4 members of SNHU, but they're all going to make it out alive as the freeze locked up the front line, and they're able to take down Pectus. And everyone, it seems, has fallen for Concordia, Wisconsin. The support's the last glimmer of hope, and they cannot have enough damage to be done between the two of them to mount any decent attack.
Yeah, Concordia going to back off on that one. They were able to find 2 picks. I wonder if they'll try and capitalize before they get back, but just as they did previously, Silent's going to opt for the Soldier 76 here just to get back faster. Valdir not going to have a problem doing it on that Baptiste as well. Concordia pushing immediately, and oh, what a huge block from Pectus.
Great block when it mattered most. Maywald off from the rest of his team. The Graviton Surge comboed with the Dragon Strike. That's the bread and butter of this team comp, executed to perfection. Just got to keep these last couple of members alive as they steamroll on and look for their final flip.
What a good rotation there. Rick Dazzle was able to block the Shatter from himself, and Pectus blocked it with the great timing on the bubble. Would have been the only one hit by it, but blocks it for himself, and that's what saved that point there as they move forward. That high charge Zarya able to walk in and just wreak havoc on the enemy side of SNHU. Not a ton of ults to work with here as overtime is about to tick down. You see the high noon come out, but the Maywall's there to isolate it.
A little bit of an awkward Baptiste window, completely ignored by SNHU. They run right past it. No damage gets amplified onto them, and they've made their way to point now, and their DPS have collected 2 kills of their own. The Resurrect has to come through now for Concordia, Wisconsin. The beat drop thrown out by SNHU, and that'll support them through the rest of this fight. Another flip should be coming through, but they've still got to hold this one down. Concordia, Wisconsin might be down out of this fight, but they're not down out of this round just yet. I love this Valkyrie pop to continue the stall.
The Valk is there to continue the stall, however, the health pool is not. Duckinator falls. You see Sopeak trying to get an angle, just a touch point, but instead 97, 98, it's taking in SNHU's favor, and I don't think there's anyone to touch. There's not. Lijiang falls to SNHU, but not without a great fight from Concordia there.
Yeah, that was a good little map we saw. We did obviously see a lot of brawl. That was the prediction, but Unicorn, for Navigator's division, they're not just playing brawl where the tank line lines up with a Lucio or something. They're playing a fairly meta comp, throwing out the Diva, getting that in the mix along with the May and the Hanzo. Very strong picks. I don't know if these are so much comfort picks. If they are, then the meta falls into a great spot for them. And that was some fantastic Hanzo play. I mean, for Navigator's division, that guy was not missing the bullseyes of many targets out there.
Yeah, Sopeak's kind of cracked on the Hanzo on that play. Even if I come away with Lijiang, I'm looking at that play of the game and making sure I tell my tanks we need to focus that guy. Maybe put someone on a Diva just to respect that Hanzo that Sopeak is bringing out so far. However, Once again, SNHU takes Lijiang Tower. We move into Blizzard World, and I think we see a lot of the same things. However, Yoke, what I'm interested to see is how SNHU can really deal with the high ground with their Diva in comparison to Concordia, Wisconsin not running one right now. Do they take that advantage and keep that tank bouncing up and down to high ground and really denying it from the DPS? If Concordia, Wisconsin continue to run that Zarya, it's going to be a lot more difficult for them, especially on attack, to address that high ground advantage that SNHU might have.
I think you're right. I mean, the Zarya does clearly bring a lot of value because they're not missing the Grab Dragon combo. They're winning the fights where they use that alt combo, so they're making the comp work there. But the Diva does bring a lot more utility in every fight that ultimates aren't used and can put a lot of pressure on the DPS of Concordia, Wisconsin, and also maybe make one of the biggest plays in the match and eat a Graviton Surge, completely negating the value from the Zarya pick. There's a lot of possibilities that open up when you pick Diva.
There definitely is. I'm hoping they'll bring some of those out here. They've got to find an answer as they're down 1-0. Once again, here at the NECC, even in week 7, we like to explain it. We play all 3 maps. SNHU up 1-0 right now. If they go 2-0, obviously the series in their favor. But as Yelk mentioned earlier here with Concordia, Wisconsin, having that better map differential, every single map does matter. So if you go down 2-0, you still want to scrape to try and fight out map 3, let it go in your favor. It might matter when it comes down to playoff contention.
Yeah, I believe they could actually get swept 3-0 here and still have one better map differential.
Wow.
So if Concordia, Wisconsin is able to take a map or 2, if they get a win, they're suddenly in the last seed of playoffs. They take it from SNHU. SNHU is right now the playoff team on the bubble, and Concordia, Wisconsin is the team looking to break in. So this is going to be their biggest match of the season. There's not going to be one on their schedule at any point that matters more than this one tonight.
Definitely. I mean, so right now we're looking at SNHU making playoffs or Concordia, Wisconsin, and according to what you're saying, Concordia, Wisconsin only needs one map in order to do that. Series doesn't matter too much. If they get a map, they make it into playoffs.
They'll need the win, so
Okay,
they don't have the
fair
better
enough.
record. Record
Okay.
is necessary to be in the playoff picture.
For sure.
And then the map differential is when teams have the same record, how that affects seeding. So if they do get the win tonight, then not only did they have just a better map differential than SNHU, but they're right on Champlain and Carroll's heels for getting all the way up to the 4 seed in playoffs. So if they win tonight, they only jump to number 6, but then next week, being such a good team that wins so many maps, you know, they can jump right up to 4 really quickly from out of the picture to right in the middle of the playoff picture. That's fantastic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm hoping to see them do it, or happy to see SNHU hold that down, that 6th seed, wanting to fight for playoffs so badly here. I'm ready to jump into Blizzard World. Producer man, are the players ready? We good to go?
Little bit of time, it seems like.
Yeah.
I know
We'll
Producer
see.
Man he's had some rambunctious dogs running about. That's been his excuse for the stream so far. But I don't think it's on him. I think the teams are just taking a little break, grabbing some water, having some halftime orange slices. You got to do it.
Got to keep it up. The halftime orange slices. Okay. Got to work in the vitamins in there. Okay. All right.
Throwing it back
Really
to
gets the
soccer.
fingers going. Yeah. Let's be real accurate. Is that
Everyone's
So
very
Peak's
first
secret?
soccer league.
Is that So Peak's secret? The orange slices? Is that what he's going with?
I don't know. I don't think sticky fingers would help a DPS player, but maybe they would.
Yeah.
Whatever
I mean,
he's
you never
doing is
know.
working. His focus
It's working.
is there.
It's working as of right now. We find ourselves in Blizzard World here. You see the same lineup here as far as players are concerned. No subs as of right now. However, you do see the side of Rick Dazzle, Pectus, and friends for Concordia, Wisconsin on the defense this time. So you'll see them on blue team, and then Dome, Palsy, Dargoon, Dargo. Not going to try and say that too many times. However, you see SNHU on the red side attacking here. So a bit of a side swap if you're at home watching and get a little confused. But let's look at the lineup so far. Coming out on defense, I'm liking the Junkrat. I think it's always fun to watch in Navigator's division. You're going to see a lot of spam and a lot of people walking into it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, these are sightlines that really open up for a ton of Junkrat spam, and I love that they keep So Peaked right on the Hanzo. Couples with the spam very well. Unless a Hanzo, I mean not a Hanzo, sorry, a Pharah comes out on the side of SNHU, this composition could just rein in so much firepower that SNHU has just an incredibly difficult time making it to the point. But I do like how they have Dargoon Dargo on the Diva to eat up a lot of that damage with the Matrix.
Yeah, and as they come out on attack here, they'll notice the double projectile, and I wonder if they'll do just what you said, opt for a Pharah or some sort of aerial character just to really remove that double projectile for being so formidable and take advantage of the lack of hit scan that so far with Concordia, Wisconsin has brought to this defensive side. Dargo Dargo on the Diva, gonna be able to take high ground fairly easily for them here, and I assume they'll want to wrap around, but it's strange to see Dome playing so well, or playing so organized with the team right now. Want to see him try and get the back line and be a distraction. And there he goes high ground.
I do like how this rotation is not wasting any time. They're getting the brawl right in the mix. They know that the high ground is the most valuable spot. They got to take this area by the boat. Palsy steamrolls in, but Six Eternal falls first. Palsy can't sustain much longer with the Lucio down by his side. Rick Dazzle just stepping into the front line, taking down both tanks. They've just got these hit scan on the high ground to deal with. Rick Dazzle batters down his third of the fight. And there's just one remaining member of SNHU left, and Valdir will choose the wiser and hop into the drink.
Yep, he'll take a drink indeed. And I mean, how did that fight open up, Yelk? So Peak's finding a head. He finds the forehead of, I believe it was Styx. Or maybe it was Silent Tempest. To be honest, can't remember. The Hanzo opens it up with a headshot there. And then, as you mentioned, Rick Dazzle just able to walk forward and take out the rest of the front line. That is SNHU were trying to use to attack with, and that's what really opened it up there. However, we'll see Silent Tempest on the Soldier, trying to make some space high ground. Gonna rain in with that hit scan spam. Dome, only about 53% of this EMP. Want to see some more backline harass from this player. See if we can maybe make Duckinator or Artemis's life not so fun here on Blizzard World. Maybe force out an immortality, but instead, M. Cole is going to force out the health pool of Silent Tempest. They don't have much of an attack without this Soldier 76, yo.
No, they don't. And M. Cola is just in his favorite spot right now. Everyone on the enemy team is clumped up right in front of him, and so much explosive damage coming up from the Junkrat of Concordia, Wisconsin to deal with that attack. The onslaught was there, but unfortunately they all just grouped up into a very tight doorway, and the spam from M. Cola was just overpowering.
It is overpowering, and speaking of overpowering and having everything in your arsenal, look at the 6 ultimates for the side of Concordia, Wisconsin. They should have every answer to an attack from SNHU on this fight.
They should, but Dome is sitting on that EMP. He can unplug all of them. The Graviton Surge comes out before the EMP. That is clutch. They'll be able to couple it with a window, and the defense should stay strong here. Silent Tempest and Palsy do find a couple of kills on the Sopeak and Pectus. The Shatter lands. Can they take down this main tank? If the defenders lose this, Palsy does get that kill. They've got to collect the kill under Rick Dazzle there. And now with no frontline left standing, the DPS and the Honor are backed into this green room off on the side. It's going to be very tough to remain on this point, but they're just going to navigate these high grounds and stay alive as long as they can. Hopefully their teammates get back in time. Somehow M. Cola's trap, lingering for so long, collects the kill onto Valdir. That gives the defense a little bit of daylight.
Somehow this fight has turned in the favor of SNHU. They fight for it. The Shatter comes through, but it's too late. They have the point, and the payload will start moving now. You'll see Concordia start moving in the opposite direction as Pectus falls. Rick Dazzle's shield falling low, but however, he's getting Duckinator's heals. He'll fall as well, being absolutely thrown back into Duckinator. The anti's there, but Palsy doesn't care as he walks forward. Yo, I can't believe that fight went in the favor of SNHU. It was all off the back of Dome's EMP, stopping Sopeaks from being able to throw those dragons into the grab.
Yeah, that was a fantastic play to deny that combo, because that is just a guaranteed fight win every time they've used it so far. But fantastic play from the attackers to stay alive through that one. They're not out of the woods yet. 2 minutes on the clock to get through this second point, as it looks like Concordia, Wisconsin does set back up, and SNHU has a ton of ultimates online to keep this attack going, Unicorn.
And this is what I'm talking about right here. Pectus unable to deal with the Diva high ground, but instead, Dargo is going to throw it in their face and take out Pectus himself with that self-destruction. And at this rate, Palsy's going to be able to move forward here on that Reinhardt. Shield getting a little low, but look at the space he's able to create with this Diva as the rest of Concordia, Wisconsin is sent running. They're going to try and take this high ground, but I've got to assume that Dargo has something to say about that as soon as he recognizes someone up there.
Yeah, this is something that should be contested. The Riptire coming out now. Immortality field thrown out to counter that. Palsy does find that Fire Strike kill onto Artemis through that window. That is a one-hit combo that no one sees coming most of the time, and it does catch the Baptiste off guard in the end. The anti-nade does land. Shatter also lands onto 3 members, but it looks like Palsy not able to withstand the damage through that. Dome doing a great job of collecting that kill onto Pectus. He's got the EMP online. Can he find a window to pop it, or do the attackers just stay strong, not use it, and collect the second point just in the nick of time before they start to drop to Duckinator and friends?
And it's all from the space Silent Temp is made there. After that, Visor walks up and tries to duel Sopeaked. However, Sopeaked healed by Duckinator and Artemis, both of them being able to keep Sopeaked up through that. However, it buys enough time for the side of SNHU to push it past Streets phase. And as we move in here to this Blizzard World Castle, we'll see, once again, I gotta assume some high ground contention, or they'll continue opting for the brawl, but there's the EMP.
I love the EMP. They knew the Grav Dragon was probably coming and they were about to lose a fight, so they will get some extra payload ground here. They've got to remember to go back and drive the thing, though. Currently no members are on the cart for SNHU. No progress being made. The Lucio does hop back there before briefly exiting. I mean, a great job for winning the fight, but really not a lot of damage done. You get the EMP out, the cart hasn't moved that much, and Concordia, Wisconsin still sitting on this Grav Dragon.
Yeah, Styx finds her way on it eventually. However, Grav Dragons are here now. The immortality does fall, and there's the kill feed that we wanted to see. The Grav Dragons alive and well. Clean it up onto Valdir with that Storm Arrow body shot, and that's a nice 5K from Sopeaked.
That's a great 5K. I mean, he's definitely on the most fun hero in this game because he is on the highlight reel Hanzo playing alongside Azaria. He's going to be spectated all throughout this one, get a flurry of play of the games, I'm sure, and it's exactly the kind of game he was hoping for.
Look at them moving right side here. They choose to take low ground, and I love this window here. Not a lot they can do about it unless the anti and the shatter.
That was disgusting. Completely laid down. Rick Dazzle doing a little bit of tactical crouching in the corner, having his own bit of fun because he knows that that play was completely made off the back of his ultimate, and a fantastic nade from Duckinator.
Absolutely. Sopeaked vying for this play of the game, but Rick, Dazzle, and Duckinator have something to say about it. Like you said, a beautiful anti-nade followed up by, I think, a full 6-man shatter there onto the side of SNHU. Now, Dome does find themselves in the back line, ready to start something high ground. I think they want to get a hack with this self-destruct that's coming up. However, they'll have to wait a few more percent, but M. Colon, friends, just cleaning up while I'm talking.
Wow, the hack comes out, and before Dome even gets off the animation, right as it comes through, Sopeaked turns around and finds that arrow, and he lands it perfectly. Now Pectus is rolling in, trying to build up some charge, build up that Graviton Surge again. Sopeaked has that Dragon Strike online, and this is a fantastic win condition for the final fight as the Diva Bomb comes in. The High Noon also popped. Rick Dazzle and M. Cola both fall to his ultimates. The attackers rolling in. Concordia, Wisconsin still have some fight in them, and they have a shatter that lands onto Pectus. He's taken down. Overtime is underway, and this one is not done yet.
I'm almost worried they throws them into that Graviton Surge, and as I kind of mentioned earlier, SNHU not having any ultimates to contest that with, especially that shatter that they could have used that fell onto Pectus earlier, cleans it up without any real, I guess, adversity from the side of SNHU. And from what I see here, 0 time left. They didn't get it all the way through point 3. Concordia, Wisconsin have a good look at this, especially after a Lijiang game that didn't look too good for them. Looks like they've cleaned it up here, and even without this Diva, able to run out here and really clean things up on defense.
Yeah, and I like how they're keeping Duckinator on this auto pick to just back up a Rick Dazzle, give him some extra beef in these fights. Whenever that nade lands onto a Reinhardt and he gets that healing boost, he's almost unkillable. It's basically like a budget transcendence. And Duckinator, I looked at their profile. They have relatively no Ana time, and they're hitting valuable nades that make differences team fight after team fight. So this is a hero that is not currently in the arsenal of Duckinator, and they should definitely consider maybe manning this hero getting a little bit better because they could climb some ranks. They're doing the fundamentals to a T, at least as of last round.
She's absolutely killing it with these antis, especially through that last fight, as you mentioned, paired it with the shatter. I mean, Rick Dazzle probably could have cleaned up that fight himself. However, after Duckinator's anti-nade, there was no reason not to throw in an ultimate and take advantage of that fight, and that anti did come through first, and so far the rest have been clean. Maybe more bio-nades just to sustain Rick Dazzle through some of these fights against Palsy, where he has this Lucio and the aggression, but oh my goodness, Sopeaked already opened this up for the attack.
Yeah, Sopeaked seems to always get that opening pick, and I love what they're doing, sending M. Cola on the flank just to occupy the background, but he's quickly found out by Dargo and Dargo. and just sent back to spawn. But Pectus steps into the team that's lacking a tank up front and manages to collect that kill onto Palsy. Now without a shield, it's looking like SNHU looks a little bit weak here, but they're not giving up any ground just yet. Duckinator does fall to Silent Tempest as Dargo is DMEC'd by what looks like Soapy.
Yeah, Duckinator falls. The DMEC is there. I'm not sure the attack still has a look at this. However, they're moving forward, and without a front line for the side of SNHU, Reinhardt finally back. The Immortality Field's there, but he gets pinned out of it.
That was a fantastic pin. I mean, that Immortality Field only saves you for so many meters, and Soapy is right there as he's always been with the Dragon Strike to cap it off and finish this attack.
You know, we talk about rolling the D.Va for the side of Concordia, Wisconsin, but if they're so proficient and so quick with getting these grab dragons, maybe they know better than us. You know, the synergy's there, and they're able to absolutely capitalize on this attack here. I think we see probably 3, maybe 4 more grab dragons from them throughout this attack.
It's going to be very tough. There's not a lot of answers that this defending team SNHU can come up with to that grab dragon. It really is a lot on, can Dargo eat one of those ultimates? He knows that when they get grabbed, the dragon is coming. You gotta flash that matrix up and find the Hanzo, make some eye contact. Rick Dazzle tried to shatter that window and was bursted down in a flash. That is going to send this attack to a stop. I mean, that is a tough play. You wish you had that main tank ultimate back.
Yeah, you definitely do. I like the effort there. I like the idea of just shattering through that window. However, even if it went off, the rest of the team truly frightened by the size of that window and how much damage it can put out, and so they back off. But speaking of back off, it's something that SNHU needs to consider with Dargo already down.
The beat drop comes out. They try to win the fight right here. Couple with an earth shatter that stuns 4, and Palsy just walks right through him. But I'm looking at this attacking team. They don't just have the grab dragon combo. They've got one of my favorites, Duckinator, sitting on that nano boost for M-Cola, and they've got the nano blade ready.
They've got the nano blade ready indeed. Styx Eternal, she doesn't have the beat drop online. Maybe a blizzard, maybe go for a freeze. The D.Va boop into the nano blade, but you've got to find an answer fast, as you got to assume it's coming out now. Instead, they're proactive with the ultimates.
M-Cola coming around the outside, dashes through Silent Tempest, now trying to hack up onto the tanks. Can't quite damage the Reinhardt enough. Can't finish him off through the Immortality Field, and does go down. Gigantic drag! Oh man, he ate it! He ate it! He made the play! He made the play he had to make so that they win the next couple of fights, and it seems like they'll be able to do it. Pectus does go down. Dargo with maybe the play of the match. It's not going to be the play of the game because that's just not how the algorithm works, but that is the most valuable play this team could have hoped to make.
Well, us and Dargo are wishing it was the algorithm that Blizzard took into account here for those play of the games. I'd love to see that eat again. 98% sure it was on accident, but the eat comes out nonetheless, and now the defensive side starts cleaning up the fight, and the side of Concordia, Wisconsin has to back down here, as you'll see them do that projected barrier use just to make sure Rick Dazzle gets out. And as far as ultimates are concerned, Concordia, none on the board right now. They're coming up on the grab dragons again, or excuse me, on just the dragons as of right now. Pectus only about 50%, but look at how quickly Soapy has farmed those dragons again. Just used them trying to go into the grab that was eaten, but instead he's got them right back online.
Shadow gets blocked by the Maywall. M-Cola not missing a beat, swapping over to that hero off of the Genji and immediately making a difference, denying an ultimate up front. Palsy gets antied. Not sure if they'll be able to take him down, though. That Maywall doesn't quite hit and leave him lingering from the rest of his team, but it looks like no trades have come through yet as M-Cola trying to get in the mix, freezes the main tank again. D.Va bomb over the top. Squishy's in the way. Duckinator goes down to the bomb.
She absolutely does. Soapy does find a pick on to Palsy, however, it's not enough. And Yelp, we talked about a really good hold from the side of Concordia, Wisconsin, but look at SNHU holding down this first corner of Streets phase. Didn't look the best on attack, but they look tried and true in practice here on Blizzard World defense, especially for the Streets phase. As we mentioned, Dargo able to go up and contest any high ground contention that that Concordia brings to the table, and this is the only answer that they do have, is send everyone high ground if we have no one that can sustain it by themselves.
This is the look, though. You gotta just start spreading out the angles and just starting to do some damage into the backline. That Graviton Surge does not get eaten
throw it all.
time. Yeah, they absolutely do. They let loose the kitchen sink, and they come up with a couple of kills, make it 3-4 as Valdir goes down. The payload going to, again, be driving toward the second point finish line, but there's only 45 seconds on the clock now as SNHU have done a fantastic job defending this Blizzard World point.
Only 40 seconds on the clock, and we've seen a problem like this before. You use all your ultimates on right before the last fight, and maybe it comes back to bite you in the butt here. I'm gonna take a sip of water. Yelk, you take over.
You got it, man. Got to stay hydrated out here. It's one of the most important things in the game. M-Cola sitting on the next most important thing in the game, and that is the Blizzard World that sets up the freeze onto the front line of SNHU. The tanks are locked up. They've got nowhere to go. Rick Dazzle has the nano boost slapped onto him, trying to finish off this kill onto Palsy, but he gets slammed down. Pectus able to block that shadow for himself, but Rick Dazzle does get briefly stunned before he rises back into the action. Fire strikes down Valdir. They've got 2 meters to go to finish off this point, and they're able to get it and tack on another 90 seconds up on the clock.
Silent Tempest was right there ready with the hero tactical visor, the 1v4. He saw it in his sights quite literally, however couldn't find it and does end up falling there. Another ultimate I'm sure they wish they had back as they move in to defend this last point inside this castle once again. This time Concordia, Wisconsin on the attack, and I see 2 familiar ultimates, and Dargo's gotta be thirsty for another eat here.
They've got to realize, though, this is their win condition, are these ultimates. They can't just send them to get this corner. They've got to send these ultimates and make sure they can finish the map. That's the most important thing, because SNHU doesn't have anything on the table in terms of ultimates. They can step into them right now, get this payload.
Oh my goodness.
He does it again! The 2 for Bartender. I ordered a double, and you delivered. Dargo taking the task into his own hands. The window comes up, and it looks like the fight could still be lost. The attackers pressing on. The eat not enough from the fantastic Diva effort, and this should be Blizzard World finish. Just a couple meters to go. No touch possible, and that is the map. Wow, we're tied up, Unicorn.
Tied up, and Dargo has got to be shaking his head after that one. Eats the grab. The Dragons find no one because of it. We'll see it in the play of the game, but it's not the one they wanted here. Dargo has got to be confused. Beautiful grab, Dragons. It was the name of the game throughout the entirety of Blizzard World, and it's what allows Concordia, Wisconsin ultimately to come away with this victory. But man, huge eats from the side of Dargo. All of SNHU, a group effort, I'm sure, calling it out, but unable to find the picks after denying such an important ultimate.
Yeah, that was crazy. We talked about it in the pregame, how Diva does bring a little bit more value than Zarya, and we saw it on that second point. Not just the eats denying that Graviton Surge, but able to just go up and contest those high grounds when the attackers were trying to push it. Dargo not letting them set up as easily as they would like to, and it made Concordia, Wisconsin rely on those heavy-hitting ultimates to finish off that map. Really, you did everything you could from an off-tank perspective. So what do you change to counter this Grav Dragon or counter the fights that aren't dictated by that alt combo?
So one of the things that I like to tell my players when I'm in a coaching situation is instead of relying on this 1v1 per se of this Diva and this Zarya, instead send the speed boost forward and just focus the Zarya. Everyone puts everything into the Zarya as far as damage is concerned, and instead of going full damage, the Diva throws the micro missiles and then just spams the defense matrix into the Zarya's face. Zarya's most likely got a panic shatter, or excuse me, panic grab in that situation as you move forward onto her, and that's a really reliable way to eat that Graviton Surge, and usually follows up with a pick onto the Zarya right afterwards. Maybe more aggression in that type of fashion. However, they've got to figure something out, because whether it's Pectus with constant Graviton Surges, it's so peaked right behind him with these Grav Dragons. I mean, there's another ultimate that ties in. You can't just eat the Grav, right? You've got to clean up everything So Peaked is doing. And right now, as we've kind of said a few different times, every single fight, he's opening it up with a pick on his own.
And it looks like we're going to just be going to a 5-minute break before we undergo our third and final map of the series. That's going to be Havana, but don't go anywhere.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Jeez, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.
briefly here just to inform chat and friends. We've got a bit of an issue here on the back end side. Working it out should only be 7 to 10 minutes as far as this intermission is concerned. Gonna do our best to rectify the situation as quickly as possible. Just wanted to make sure we were true to our word, gave you a very brief break, and want to be transparent on the breaks going forward. We'll be right back to you. Just a quick intermission. Appreciate you sticking around.
Alrighty, welcome back. After a delay, we've got arguably the biggest map of the Navigators regular season between Concordia, Wisconsin and SNHU tonight. They're tied up 1-1. This is the 6 seed and the 7 seed battling for a playoff spot right now. And the final map we're going to have is Havana for you. So Unicorn, up to this point, I mean, all the wind has been taken out of any team that had the momentum in this one. So we're just knotted up at an even game, pretty much starting fresh in a sudden death one map series. That's how you could think of it. What are you looking to see from both teams?
I think it can be good for both sides as well. I think they've both gotten a few minutes to recoup, really go over the morals here, plan out a strategy for a map like Havana, whether it be the spawn door hold that we first mentioned or something else under their sleeve here that they've got to pull out. I mean, as we move in, I think with this series tied 1-1, both of them have really just got to make sure they grasp the mental here, make sure everyone mechanically is on point. Look out for these diva matrices that have been such a problem for this side of Concordia, Wisconsin so far. However, still able to pull out Blizzard World, 2 weeks in one map, and it still works out for them. I'm excited to see what both sides can do here, but I'm ready to jump into Havana as soon as we get the readies from both sides here. Anything you're looking for specifically? We can talk about spawn door holds, but do we really just see a brawl from both of these sides?
I think we do see a brawl. I know that SNHU Dome in particular is not afraid to run the May, and that is the hero that's pretty much necessary if you want to go all out and hold the spawn right up at the door. And I think that we do see that from SNHU. They're going to be the first team to start on defense, so they can really set the tone for this game and let Concordia, Wisconsin know that, hey, that was a long break we just had, but wake up. We're going to make you fight just to get out of spawn door. I hope that's how they come out on defense.
You know, as do I. You see Valdir hover the Widow there for a second, and maybe not something that they stick with there, but you'll see Rick Dazzle Pectus once again on that attacking side. So you've got SNHU in the blue, you've got Concordia, Wisconsin on the red side attacking first here. Do we see the spawn door hold? We'll have just a few seconds here left before we see what hero lineup they roll with. The attacking side has a lot of opportunities to listen out, see if they can hear any footsteps, see anything out the window that's moving to those spawn doors, change accordingly, but right now they're going to stick with double projectile.
Yeah, I like it, and we do have Maze on both sides, so it does seem like SNHU is opting to hold close. At least that's what their comp would tell us right now. Silent Tempest on the Widowmaker. I do like that because this first point does have a very long sightline on two different sections of this streets phase, but SNHU is kind of hanging back right now. They might not close the distance right up to the spawn door. They might try and play safe, play back, and just go for these picks as Concordia just steps into the sightlines of this Widowmaker.
Yeah, maybe not super comfortable with the spawn door hold. I think it's definitely something important to try. Gets a ton of time off the clock. Even if you do lose that first initial fight, still so important. However, when the stakes are high and the series is tied up 1-1, maybe they're not quite ready to try it out just yet. But like you mentioned, they find themselves in Silent Tempest's line of sight. However, no one falling just yet. Dome barely getting away from that fire strike. Rick Dazzle trying to find some ult charge there. Silent Tempest grappling up to meet the Baptiste there, trying to find some picks, but we've got Sopeaked back on the Hanzo, and he's ready to exact revenge on Silent Tempest if he does find a pick.
It's a really good battle for these sightlines between the two snipers on each team. Sopeaked really doesn't have too much cover to peek behind and try to land a headshot onto Silent Tempest, but he is able to storm road down Palsy, and now there is no shield in the way. And it looks like Concordia, Wisconsin can just step up and push the attack. The high charge Zagat Pectus beams down the Diva, and it doesn't seem like this attacking team is going to lose any momentum anytime soon.
Most definitely not. If we know one thing about Sopeaked, as soon as the shield is gone from the side of Palsy, as soon as he's fallen, Sopeaked is just going to clean up the rest of your team. So they are very intelligently going to back up, wait for that shield from Palsy, try and get this last second hold, but the Maywall's going to cut them off from doing so. And now they're going to have to scramble to try and get a defensive hold. They need to try and find high ground quickly. It looks like they wanted to contest, but now don't have the opportunity to.
That was a very good Maywall, and now they're not quite where they want to be. You're absolutely right. They'd much rather be up on this high ground because Pectus has this Graviton Surge coming up, and if they all stay on this low ground like this, you do not want to be grouped up for this ultimate. But also, Dargoon Dargo, our boy, he could just come up with another massive eat. to take this ultimate away. Shatter lands on the 5 members of Concordia, Wisconsin, but they're able to stay alive through that one, at least for now. Diva Bomb flies out. No, Diva Bomb does not fly out. What on earth happened there that I saw? Anyway, Palsy goes down to the pin. That was out of left field. Unicorn, you got to take it away. This one's way too wild for me to handle.
It's so strange that Palsy threw the shatter, but then this M-Cola wall comes out from the May, and it's awkward enough to cut off the Matrix, the M-Matrix, and it stops anything else, but the Blizzard combo with the bomb comes out, finds the Immortality Field, and their carry so peaked in that DPS spot, and now you see SNHU are ready to clean up the fight, finally gain some momentum here as the defense, and now they'll be able to take a breath here, gain some traction, and hopefully find this high ground that you and I have spoken so highly about, pun intended. Hopefully they can navigate their way around it, but they have got quite literally 6 ults to work against here for the attacking side of Concordia, Wisconsin.
It's not going to be easy to fight this one off on defense, but SNHU did do a great job comboing that Blizzard with the Diva Bomb. The Diva Bomb zoning them all into uncomfortable positions, and they were able to not really get away from the Blizzard that came out from Dome because they had to just be preoccupied, keep that natural cover right next to them so they could stay safe from the first ultimate, and it left them hanging for the second one. Now the grab comes through, comboed with the Dragons, but the Immortality Field keeps everyone alive, but they're low, and they cling to it. Palsy finds some value with a pin and a Fire Strike and an Earth Shatter, lets his kit loose, and just barrels into the enemy. Great play for the SNHU main tank.
Palsy cleans up the fight by pinning in, having the rest of Concordia, Wisconsin forget about him, and then hits him with the flank shatter to remind him he's still there, and absolutely cleans up just like you mentioned there. I love the play from that main tank. If it's anything like his corny jokes he was throwing down at match chat during the intermission, his carrying's just getting started here on Havana, yo.
Hey, Unicorn, how do you get a farm girl to like you? A tractor. I'll be here all week.
Thank you. Hey, okay, I like it. I like it. Look at Darkoon Dargo ready with the Matrix there. I'm just gonna keep pronouncing the name really close to correctly for the entirety of this. Darkoon Dargo, dark room, Dargon. Look at the huge ante.
Wait, what is this Baptiste window that I keep flying out into the back line? Not sure who can use that, but it definitely does serve as a distraction as Darkoon Dargo's bomb flies in, takes out the Immortality and Sopeak. That's the carry player so far. Concordia removed from this fight, and it looks like the rest are going to fall here as Palsy continues to cleave through the enemy one at a time, and he's got 3 on his own so far.
Speaking of cleaving, Pectus absolutely shreds the mech there before he finally falls. That might be enough there to help them as they move into this next attack. The baby diva without the mech is definitely going to be a problem here, as Darkoon Dargo has been so impressive with these defense matrices throughout the entire series. They're going to want to move in quickly. However, without the Lucio by their side to do it, you're going to see him take the long poke angles. Sopeak's peeking around right now from that left side, trying to find Valdir. Instead, he responds with a few hit scan shots over there. The mech finally back for the side of Dargo there. The freeze comes out, and the May walls are just creating some geometry here. Difficult to work around, yo.
Silent Tempest getting involved in the backline, sticking the man with the grab. Pectus fell to that one, and it seems like SNHU is just doing a fantastic job holding the second point. They'll continue to do so. It doesn't seem like Concordia, Wisconsin is mounting too much of an attack onto these high grounds, and I think both teams should start to contest them a little more heavily because right now this map is being played very two-dimensionally.
And if I'm Concordia, Wisconsin, I'm getting a little worried here because this is the same situation we saw in Blizzard World. We saw SNHU really fall behind in the early portions of it, but once they got a good defensive hold, once they won that first fight and they got themselves set up on a corner, they were all able to hold it almost definitively until Wisconsin had 6 ults. And instead, did the Blizzard get eaten? No, there it is. Got thrown a little high in the air.
Yeah, a little bit of a slow pitch softball that time from Dome, the May player for SNHU. Now the Graviton Surge comes in, comboed with the Dragon Strike just to obliterate a baby diva. You're not making it out of that one, Dargo. Sorry about that, but they have had enough of your antics, I suppose.
I love it. In a response to eating the Graviton Surges before, make sure that one landed, and just to combo it up with the Dragons to make sure it hits something. However, back with the Matrix, a preemptive beat drop, maybe a little early there as they go to position. It will give them the payload advantage, and it has Wisconsin scrambling here as the Nano comes out, but oh my goodness, Palsy's on a rampage.
He lays it down to finish it off as well. Pins the last member alive for Concordia, Wisconsin, far from the point. And that is overtime ticking down. A fantastic hold for SNHU as they try to win this sudden death match.
And what a response from SNHU after Blizzard World did not go in their favor. They've got the series 1-1 and they tie it up to a second point hold on Havana. Once you're inside of this distillery, it is a difficult map to push, and SNHU holds it beautifully. We're gonna have to hope Wisconsin can do the same thing here as they want to move into defense. I think they have to go with the spawn door hold. Maybe not as worried about it as SNHU was, maybe a little bit more comfortable. I think that's going to be enough to buy the time that they need, as they're going to have a huge time bank to work against here, as they can only afford to lose really 3 or 4 fights as we look at this.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. The defenders, Concordia, Wisconsin, really didn't do themselves too many favors on attack in that first round. It's going to be tough. I agree. I think they got to go for the spawn hold, take as much time off the clock in that first fight as you can. You're going to get a second chance at the first point, and you can still set up a good defense. You got plenty of time to get back out and set up after you lose this first fight, if it even happens. But your best chance at, being successful in your win condition that isn't that great right now is definitely just holding up close, taking as much time off the clock as you can.
Looks like they might want to go for it, but real quickly before the action starts here, want to talk about the comp switches. We haven't seen Dome or Silent Tempest on either one of these heroes, and it's a little strange to see this late in the game. I don't know why Valdir threw out his immortality field 2 seconds before the match started, but they don't have it going into this first map, or excuse me, this first fight.
That is a big cooldown not to have too. Not sure why he was letting that frisbee fly, but he will not have that one for about 20 seconds until it comes back online. But I do think these compositions are a little strange, at least from SNHU. We haven't seen them on these picks just yet, and Silent Tempest going down to Peck. This might be a tell why, not able to fly away in time, but Dome bursting down M-Cola with those Junkrat grenades and doing a pretty good job of farming that Riptire, a very good ultimate, especially in this division, getting that ultimate up pretty quickly.
Certainly is. However, he falls to Rick Dazzle's Fire Strike. Sopeaked ends up cleaning up Palsy as well with the headshot there. After they lost their utility of M-Cola on that Mei, I figured maybe they wouldn't have a good look at this fight. However, they clean it up without the Mei wall, without the freeze by their side, thanks to Sopeaked and Rick Dazzle. And you see SNHU trying to come back in on this attack, but these DPS just keep getting picked.
DPS and Pectus are just dishing out so much damage. Pectus has been high charge since this round started, and he's going on backline flanks, making great use of this high ground on the right side of the cart if you're the defending team. He's rolling in, doing tons of damage. M-Cola and Sopeaked finding a pair of headshot final elims, and that is what you like to see. I mean, if your DPS are clicking heads on these long sight lines, you can lock this down forever.
Seems like so long ago, but we mentioned Duckinator with her on this Ana as well, keeps finding these antis. And so far, that's what's followed up 2 of the picks onto the DPS and forced Palsy, we're just going to keep going with one or the other. Forced Palsy back to the corner there as he got antied and kept having to throw down there on the corner, but instead they throw the Graviton Surge now. Not a ton to follow it up with, and the wall's going to be able to protect them a little bit, but Palsy finds his way around it.
Palsy goes up and over the obstacles. He's got the nano boost, and he doesn't quite care about it, but that is something he can't ignore. The Grav dragging the bread and butter, and that is going to be another fight win. The payload's still parked right here outside spawn.
We talked about a spawn door hold to save time, but I mean, heck, if you can just keep him here, just roll with that instead. Concordia, Wisconsin are looking great here. Still have ults to work with. They've got the Blizzard, the Amplification Matrix. I want to see them go for an Amp Matrix Fire Strike, especially paired with Duckinator's antis that she just keeps hitting. Huge block.
Big shatter block. Rick Dazzle focused as ever. Now the Riptire sent on a road trip here from Dome, working its way into the back line, but shut down by the Maywall. Rick Dazzle lays it down up front. This team is not giving SNHU anything right now. They throw in the Blizzard after the Diva gets slept. Great play by Duckinator, capitalized on by M-Cola, comboing that ultimate with the Sleep Dart. No ability to eat that one. And still, the hold goes on. A minute left. The pressure is on.
The pressure's on, and it became a chilly day in Havana to clean up that fight. M-Cola able to throw a huge Blizzard and find 3 in it. And all they really have is a duplicate to work with here. They're going to have an Amp Matrix. They'll build that, but they get off of the off tank and instead go to a Sigma here that totally resets the ult charge. Dome on the Somber now. They're deciding to switch the composition entirely here in the last fight, potentially.
Yeah, a couple more shields, though, could get in the way of Sopeek's arrows, and Dargo able to step right into a kill onto Artemis before Dome goes down, but the trade's still in the favor of SNHU. This hero seems to be working for the off tank of Southern New Hampshire. Graviton Surge coming in, but it looks like the Echo copying onto the Zarya could actually sustain him through it. That is 3 picks, but they're not out of it yet. It's still a trade war. They've still got a chance. Maybe Silent Tempest gets a kill on the way out, but instead he falls to a very far away arrow shot by Sopeek. He's set on fire all match.
Styx finds herself dying to the Grab Dragons before she can get the beat drop off, but a huge shatter might be able to turn this. Oh my goodness, a fat ante is going to stop the push for now. That's going to give Concordia, Wisconsin time to sustain, and that's all they need for Sopeek to find the picks in the back line. Styx Eternal ends up falling again. Not a good time for her on Havana so far. The accretion goes out, but does not find M. Cola thanks to the eyes block. They're going to have to do their best to sustain in overtime, but they're 5 strong right now as they try and walk forward. But Palsy falls before the Immortality Field can come out.
Fantastic play, the sleep dart, the May freeze going on to the main tank. Sopeek there with a storm arrow, and now he sets the Dragon Strike loose onto the point. Only able to get 1 kill on the Styx as Rick Dazzle also goes down. The front line has been finicky so far on this defense for Concordia, but with another kill, they look to win the game right here. Just 3 members left of SNHU. Concordia gives some ground, but they go right back in. Even though Pectus is hacked, he doesn't seem to care. He's got the grab online, just trying to find an opportunity to use it. Doesn't even need it. Locks up the Lucio, preventing them to get to the point, and that is Concordia, Wisconsin, taking the match and moving into the playoff picture.
Preventing Styx from finding her way back to payload, and preventing Styx from finding her way into playoffs is Pectus and friends there from Concordia, Wisconsin. And this play of the game says it all, Yelk. It's what we saw the entirety of the defense for Concordia, Wisconsin. The Grab Dragons, and just to harp on Sopeek again, got the Grab Dragons from the previous fight, and maybe 35, 40, maybe 45 seconds later has another set of dragons to throw onto payload and finds another pick with it. Sopeek, absolutely, if we're already going into it, my play of the game for this series, or excuse me, MVP of this series. We just watched the play of the game, which surprisingly wasn't him for the first time.
I do like Sopeek, right?
Yeah.
Clearly made a great case for themselves on Hanzo. Didn't have to switch off that hero all game long. Had the play of the games, just sending the Dragon Strike into the grab, not missing. But I honestly have to contest and say Pectus is my MVP here, because they were stepping up high charge. That last map, Havana, they had 35 elims, all of which were high energy. So they were just bringing the firepower when they're on that Zarya, and they needed to be, because that's a big part of that bread and butter combo that was making Sopeek look so good. Those grabs had to be there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I mean, just to further advocate for Pectus on that Zarya, the Dragons seem so much easier to build up when you can poke from a safe distance, but Pectus really having to get into the grid of things in order to farm up that high charge like you mentioned, and then furthermore capitalize it with not only damage, but meaningful damage onto backline picks, and that's what helped build that Graviton Surge. You've swayed me. I'll go Pectus all day for MVP.
I like it. I like how they were off angling too. They were being aggressive. Sopeek was doing great, playing very safe, using their range. Not a lot of risk to that play, and they had to hit shots to make it work, which they did. But Pectus was definitely being the aggressor in this game, setting the tempo for Concordia, Wisconsin. So I think we're going with the right pick there, but Sopeek is right behind them.
Right there. Runner up. If I can give it to both, I'll say you're both MVP just because the combo goes together for the Graviton Surge and the Dragons. I'll give it to you here as well. You've got 2 MVPs technically here for this series. You've got Pectus with the Grabs. You've got Sopeek with the Dragons. Both of those players cleaning up on their own right. Yelk, anything else here as I mean, gotta give it up for the side of Concordia, Wisconsin. Came in down as far as series were concerned, down as far as a record was concerned, up on map differential, and proved that that can be what turns the tides here, even in the Navigators division where we see so many 3-0s, teams absolutely decimating other sides. However, they fight tooth and nail and end up as your 6th seed here moving into playoffs.
Yeah, and they earned it too. It was kind of a wonky game. We had some pauses, some delays, some issues we had to work through, and it was very easy. Even though they won that second map, that long delay could have really taken away their momentum, and they were able to just keep it. They didn't have the best attack. They didn't get rattled on Havana, and they put up probably the most stellar defense we've seen from them all season long to earn that playoff spot. So well done, Concordia, Wisconsin. SNHU not out of the picture. There's plenty of weeks left in the NECC where they can get back involved in the playoff picture, so they're not out of it yet, but this was one that Concordia, Wisconsin definitely had marked on their calendar as a big game, and they got to be feeling great after winning it.
They definitely do. They come away with the W there. Couldn't be more proud of them from the display we saw from both sides here, especially at going against SNHU's Diva. Dark on Dragons, Darkoon, Dargov. He absolutely
Bazinga,
popped off.
man. You
Yep.
got it.
Bazinga, yep. Yeah, I thought you saw match chat. Absolutely pops off there on that Diva. Able to eat so many of those grabs, and that's got to be demoralizing if you're Concordia, Wisconsin. However, they read the field, they go through the maps, and they understand what they need to do to avoid that Diva. And so many DMECs happened after that where they were able to focus that player. And as soon as Dargon Dargo fell, I mean, that's what they used to capitalize on every single fight. The DMEC Diva was what opened up so many different fights to them, whether it was the combo or just any one of the players popping off, but usually so peaked your Pectus.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job knowing how those ultimates had to be used and how they had to set up the fight to use them. Like you're saying, demeching the Diva before they let the combo in, because they know that that's a Diva who can eat up the Graviton Surge, and they were tired of letting that happen, that's for sure. But Unicorn, I'm pretty sure we're not going to have a post-game interview after this one because we're running a little bit behind because of the tech issue or something we had going on after map 2. So that's going to be it. I'm off the mic for the night. Are you still going on?
Going right back to it, coming up to you with a game here in just a few minutes with Infernosis. Excited to bring it to you. Give us probably maybe a 5-10 minute break just for a quick intermission to bring the other casters on, get everything settled. We'll be right back to you.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Jeez, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.